blood flow workout here in the garage, and I just can't stop thinking about the arm bender. Wasn't really planning on making a video because I'm still not 100% yet, but I just really wanted to make it while everything was still fresh in my mind, and like I said, I just can't stop thinking about it. It was such a great show. So the first match that happened was RJ Harrold versus Dan Grosulak, and RJ I had on for discussion early last week, and you know, everything that he said and everything that he was planning, he followed through on. Really impressive win. He was able to beat Dan in his strongest move, which was inside, which I thought was absolutely insane. Not that many people can really get Dan out of that sticky spot inside, and RJ was just really good at being able to manipulate his shoulder forwards and backwards as needed to push Dan outside of his shoulder. And I thought he did exactly what he needed to do to get the win. And then after that, he was pretty much in full control. So really, really impressive match. And I'm really looking forward to his upcoming fight with Alexander Groot on, I can't remember if it was April 15th or May 15th, but it's coming up really, really quick. The next match was supposed to be Dalton versus me. Unfortunately, that wasn't able to happen. So Sam stepped in, Sam Gittlein, and he pulled Bryan Johnson. This was actually a surprising match for me because Bryan Johnson is an inside puller and he pulled outside. I know that he hurt his arm last year, so maybe pulling inside just isn't an option for him anymore. But either way, being able to pull off the win like that last minute when Sam was coming in shape and ready to fight was really impressive, and I really hope to pull Bryan too soon, hopefully. Up next, we had Nathan Johnson versus Robert Petley on the left hand. Robert Petley is a very strong human. He's got a lot of power, especially early on. But Nathan is just a pure arm wrestler. He trains day in and day out, specifically for arm wrestling. So I had a feeling, like in my prediction video, that he would be able to pull off the win, and he did just that. You know, the first round it was a little bit sticky for Robert, but Nathan was able to just get in there and get him in his lane, pull him right into that hook, and there was nothing Robert could do. Hey, hi guys, thanks for tuning in. So I wasn't surprised, just like in my prediction video. You know, I had a feeling that Nathan, if anything, he might have lost the first round. Maybe he'd be surprised by Robert's power, but you know, Nathan's just, you know, he's a true pro arm wrestler. So I had a feeling he was going to pull off the win pretty easy. The next match was the match of the night, in my opinion. I watched this match multiple times. It was so good. Alexander Groot versus Jake Houston. Oh my God, what a match, what a match. Jake Houston is one of the best, not just in the country, but he's, you know, I would say a world level puller. He's just an amazing, amazing puller. And Alex is a new guy, up and coming, very strong. In my predictions, I said on paper, Jake should take the win. Easy, 3-0, not drop any matches. But I said, with my heart, I really hope Alex can do something, because I see how hard he trains. I see how strong he's getting. And boy, did he deliver. He looked really nervous in the first round. I mean, rightfully so. He's going against Jake Houston. But man, once he felt that he was in the game, and once he felt that he wasn't going to get outclassed, he came alive and he turned it on. Um, and he really surprised Jake. I would say the one thing that people maybe thought that the match was over was when the first time they got in the straps and Jake kind of flash pinned him. Um, but I think that was the last thing that Alex needed to really get those nerves out of his system, because after that, Alex felt exactly what he had to do in the setup in order to get full hand control, and he was able to just take control of every round from that point on. And it was, I don't think I've ever seen Jake Houston struggle in the setup and be so uncomfortable and argue the way he was, because um, um, Alex just completely dominated in the hand in the setup, and it was just so surprising. Um, and there was even a point where I got a little bit worried because Alex, he felt like he was in such control that he started showboating a little bit, and he was holding Jake, and then Jake was able to sneak in another win. And From that point on, though, Alex just did exactly what he needed to do, and then he finished out the match. Um, they were fighting. They were both fighting hard. Outside of the one flash pin from Jake, every round was just a lot of heart from both guys, and Alex is a force to be reckoned with in the 176, and whoever didn't know his name will know his name now, because he just completely shook up the rankings, and his match coming up with RJ Harrold is really going to show that whatever they're doing in their club is working, because two guys in the 176 being so close and coming out and getting dominating wins at the arm bender is just incredible, and I can't wait to keep following these guys' careers and see where they go. And I'm also, that makes me really happy for my boy Hunter Broughton, because he pulled off a narrow victory against Alex last year, and he's a good training partner of mine. So it'll be curious to see if they play it back again, how it goes. So after that match, Sam Gittlein versus Weston Teppo on the right arm. I personally thought, based off of recent kind of pulls with Sam, that Weston might have too much top end for Sam, but Sam came in and really proved me wrong, and he pretty convincingly and dominatingly. Um, that doesn't sound right. Um, you guys know what I mean. But yeah, he came in and beat Weston pretty convincingly. He didn't really let him get in the match too much. And It was definitely surprising. I thought it was going to definitely be more of a war, center table, stuck in the drag hook, especially for one round. But Sam just came in on point and peaked and did exactly what he needed to do. This next match I was really, really, really looking forward to: Dustin Finley versus Nathan Johnson. Um, a lot of people, for some reason, don't give Nathan as much credit as, hey there, Sandwich Loop. Thanks for tuning in. A lot of people don't give Nathan as much credit as I feel like he deserves, but not everyone's felt his right arm. And I can tell you that his right arm is on a very, very high level. And I think he's going to make some really big waves this year. Dustin Finley is a new guy, but he beat a multiple-time world champion last year in his first year of arm wrestling. So he's not weak. He's no pushover. And Nathan came in and absolutely dominated. And it went exactly the way I said in my prediction video. I said that if Dustin didn't come in with something other than a press, he was going to get ran over, because a press is weak against a like a low hand hook, like what Nathan does, because you can't get your shoulder forward. Someone who's as fast and proficient in the hook as Nathan is, he completely crowds that space, and you cannot get that. You cannot get that press sunk in. You can't get your shoulder behind like you need to. You just get out overcrowded. Hermes and Levon both, showed a perfect example against Jerry Caderet on why um, you can't just be a presser. You can't. Um, you have to have a way to get around a hook, because even a primary top roller, someone who's not just an inside guy like Nathan, they're not going to need much. They could probably practice for 2 or 3 months, and they'll have enough of a hook to beat that press. Um, so unfortunately, Dustin just didn't have enough time to develop his hook as much as he needed to be able to fight someone like Nathan. But Nathan is a top guy. I guarantee his name is going to be at the top of the rankings before the end of the year. Guarantee. Um, Next, Leif versus Jordan. This one, Jordan Sill. Everyone knows Jordan Sill. He's been pulling forever. I think 20 or more years. Very, very high level guy. Very good. Um, he expected to come in and dominate, and I don't blame him. Leif hasn't got his name out there yet. Really, hasn't been able to travel around as much, but he's so powerful. When you see him in person, his physical demeanor is really intimidating because he's just like a really thick, and like you could just tell that that he's just different. He's built different. And one thing that I said in the prediction videos that Jordan mentioned is, I like how you talk about how strong he is. And I told you, man, you still got the win, and Jordan got the win, but Leif put up a good fight. He started wearing down Jordan's hand, which doesn't happen often. He found lanes. He even got a pin. So it was really incredible for our region to get a measuring stick like that, because we all pull Leif, and we all know how strong he is, and we all know where we stand in comparison to him. And seeing what he was able to do with Jordan Sill was just incredible. See, like the power when you watch the slips in this video and you see how explosive it is when their hands just flew apart. Like, it was crazy the amount of power on that table. And this was a very big Jordan Sill. He didn't cut. He came in 235, I think the info card said. Um, and he looked huge, bigger than I've seen him compete in a long time. And Leif was still able to get right in that match, and like I said, get a pin. No one was expecting that, and it went exactly the way I said, 3-1 to Jordan Sill. But man, that was huge for our region. Miles Hutton versus Dakota Shipton. I had this as a 70-30 favorite for Miles coming into this, and it proved to be even more dominant in terms of Miles. I do still think that Dakota had lanes. I just don't think he was able to access them. I don't think he was able to turn Miles in to a hook on the inside. Miles' top roll was way too explosive, and just like I said, his hand is so dominating and so big. His hand is close to the size of Matt Max, and so there's just no, when he closes down on you, you just don't feel like you have anywhere to go. And no matter where you put your hands, his attacking edge of his forearm and the outside part of his hand is just right into your fingertips. So when he just explodes out, unless you're tiers of strength above him, then he'll just get you. And Miles has just proved once again that he's on a mission and he's on a path. And going to nationals, he's going to make a really big splash. And I think, in a year or two, Miles is going to be a name that everyone knows. He has probably some of the highest top end potential of anyone in arm wrestling right now, in my opinion. And he's gonna make a name for himself. I know how hard Dakota trained, and I'm looking forward to some of his upcoming matches. But Miles is just something special, unfortunately for him. Clifton Erickson versus John Therrien. Nothing needs to be said about John. He's an insane competitor. They call him the Savage for a reason. He came in and, in the setups, he had too much control. I will say that I do think that I was not happy with the reffing in this match, and you know, good on both of the competitors to kind of talk through and do what they needed to do um, to get through the match. Um, but as an onlooker, you know, the ref was having a really hard time controlling them, and the starts were a little rough. Um, but I'm not sure that it would have changed the outcome of the match. When they got into the straps and Clifton was able to get a hook in, he was able to stop and hold John there, and John had to do a professional foul in order to get the match to restart. But that was even surprising because from the rules meeting, it was my understanding that they were, you know, doing um, rolling fouls, or I can't think of the term right now, but they were basically they're supposed to just keep pulling through, and so there wasn't supposed to be any professional fouls or anything like that. But the ref stopped the match, and I think that Clifton would have got the pin that round, and I think he deserved it because he legitimately had complete control in the hook on the inside. And then after that point, John did everything he could to make sure that they didn't go back to that spot, and he ended up getting the win. But it was definitely a little bit frustrating because you know these guys were both they're both very high level, and they were fighting for their lives in the setup. And I think the ref just had a really hard time controlling the match and keeping an eye on everything he needed to. And there was a lot of matches before this, so I'm sure there's a little bit of fatigue setting in. So maybe next time they'll be able to swap out the down and top ref just to let them get a little break. But it was a little frustrating on that event. But obviously, I think the guy who won, the right guy won in the end. Um, Next up, we had Levi Nagel versus Logan Anderson. Logan is the monster from Montana that everyone needs to be scared of. Um, Even untrained, like just showing up to a table and pulling people, he feels like an absolute insane monster. Um, that you know he pinned RVJ on the left arm last year, and uh, now that he's training, it was scary to, especially in the strap, the power that he put down and the control that he had. His wrist and his arm is so big around, like there's just no way you're gonna out leverage him in a strap. Um, so anyone who pulls him in the future, I highly recommend you stay away from that strap game as much as you can because I don't think anyone's beating him in the strap. I just don't. I don't think it's gonna happen. Um, he's at that new level now where um yeah, if he keeps training and he keeps doing arm wrestling specific training, going to practices, he can pull with the best in the world on the left. I truly believe it. um I did think Levi was going to get a win. I did, um just because he is such an unorthodox puller, and he is very strong. He's no slouch, no pushover, so that just made this that much more impressive. Um, Joe Fehr versus Jordan Sill. Excuse me. This was a match I was very much looking forward to because left hand is of big interest to me because I'm primarily left-handed. Um, and I really wanted to know where we sat in terms of the region in the left. And Jordan's left was just on another level from Joe's. I really thought Joe had a good chance of getting an upset here, but Jordan proved, you know, that elite level that he's at. Um, Not to say Joe was completely out of the match in the third round when he got some bite and a hook. He was able to get a stop and able to get in there a little bit. I was hoping that Joe would just go straight into a hook from the first round because I do think that he maybe could have worn down Jordan a little bit and gotten a at least one pin in there. But it kind of went the way that I predicted as well. with Jordan just being a little bit too much, unfortunately for Joe, and or not a little bit too much. I think in this case, Jordan's left is just it has its reputation for a reason, and he did win pretty dominantly there. But I think this doesn't mean anything bad for Joe. The fact that he could even get in the match with someone like Jordan is very impressive. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing where Joe goes from here, and I really wish I could have gotten down there to fuel Jordan's left as well. Sandris Sedis versus RVJ for the main event. Hey, hi there. Thanks for tuning in. Sandris Sedis versus RVJ. In my prediction video, I said that even if we got the best version of RVJ that's ever competed, I just didn't see him being able to do anything at all with Sandris. And people were asking in the comments, you know, if they thought Sandris could hook RVJ, if they thought he could top roll, and if they thought this. And I said, I think Sandris could do whatever he wants. And it proved to be true. Sandris completely demolished him in the first round, completely demolished him. Once RVJ felt that power, you could see it on his face instantly that this was going to be something that he wasn't expecting. Later on, Sandris even let them go into a hook to feel that power. RVJ did say that he was having some issues in his elbow, so he wasn't trying to go into the hook if he couldn't. But he went in there, and they sunk in that hook really deep, and Sandris did the unthinkable. Sandris can opened RVJ with RVJ's insane dominant hand that I don't think has ever been can opened, and I don't think anyone thought that his hand could be can opened, and Sandris did it. He completely cranked it open from a deep hook, and from that moment on, I can't remember if that was the third or yeah, that was the third round. So they had one more round, and you know, Sandris was kind of just playing with him in that last round, just letting him work and try to see if there was a lane there, but RVJ couldn't find a lane, and yeah, unfortunately, it was just like I thought. I think Sandris was just way too high of a level for RVJ. Definitely in his current shape, but hopefully that'll light a fire in RVJ, because it kind of seemed like it did there at the end. He gave a little speech, and he was saying that he wanted to come back and give it another try. So hopefully we do get to see a fired up RVJ come back and pull and win hard. Hey Bryan, yeah, we were calling it there, but it was just way too much for RVJ. It was a great event though overall, and if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Start to finish. Once they got the lighting especially fixed, it was just an insane event that no one ever expects these events out of Montana to be what they are, but they always deliver. There's multiple promoters here in Montana putting a lot of time, effort, and money that most other promoters are not willing to do, and they are bringing the big shows. Hey Neil, what's going on? So please go watch the Armbender and let me know what you think. There's probably gonna be a lot more content on it because there's just so much to cover. And again, Alexander Groot versus Jake Houston, that was definitely the match of the night. And I can't wait to have Alex on and talk to him and pick his brain a little bit for his upcoming match with RJ, especially since I had RJ on a few days ago. But yeah, that's all I wanted to come on to talk about while it was still fresh in my mind, while I did this blood flow workout, and I hope to see you guys soon. Have a great day.